Hello everybody. Welcome once again for a discussion on poetry. Today also I'm going to discuss a poem from Shakespeare. In other words, a sonnet from Shakespeare. This is sonnet number 130. But I named this video discussion as Shakespeare the Realist. But the real name of the sonnet is My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. Let me share the screen and show you the poem so that my discussion is going to be meaningful for you. Hope you can see the screen now. Let us go into the discussion. Now, my mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun is the name of this sonnet. And usually I want you to come to an assumption. That assumption is this. Usually the poets exaggerate when they talk about their beloveds, their loved ones, lovers. But here we see a difference in Shakespeare. That is why I named Shakespeare the Realist. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips' reds. If snow be white, why then her breasts are done? If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I read to you the first stanza of this sonnet. He is very clear and to the point about the details of beauty of his beloved or mistress. Let's take the first line into consideration. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. A usual average poet of his time, or even after that, we see they talk in exaggeration. They say sometimes, eyes of my beloved is much better than the sun. When you talk about the quality of the sun, sunlight, or maybe the power of sun, they want to tell much more than what is available in the girl's or beloved's eyes. But he says directly here, my mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. They are not like the sun. That means they are not sharp like the sun. They are not beautiful like the sun. They are not sharp, glittering like the sun. Maybe average eyes. Look at the second line. Coral is far more red than a lips red. I think you know the material coral. It's a valuable material, natural, valuable material you find in the sea. In Sri Lanka, in Australia, we have very famous coral reefs. Sri Lanka, of course, if you go to Ikkadua, you can see the corals. Usually they are of various colors, but famous color is the rose color or the red color. Now he says, coral is far more red than her lips red. Usually, ladies or girls' lips are another feature that is very much talked about in poetry, in short stories, in dramas. But here we see He talks about her lips, but he's a realist once again. He's realistic about her lips red. And he says, coral is far more red than her lips red. Coral red is actually not very deep or very sharp red. It is more rose color when you say coral's red. And he is telling the truth. Coral is far more red than her lips red. You can understand the red color available in her lips red or in her lips is fail even not up to the rose color you come across in coral. Let's go to third line. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun? Dun is a brownish gray color. You see now eyes, lips, and the next beautiful thing that many poets talk about in a girl is her breasts. And usually when we say British girls, their breasts are a bit whitish in color. Therefore, he takes a comparison to snow. If snow be white, why then her breasts are done? He means to say, snow is better in white color than her breasts. In this case, the girl's breasts must be brownish gray, pale color. He tells the truth. If, and he takes another if in the fourth line, and he makes a comparison again. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. Usually in British girls, you have either brown color hair or white color hair. And it's a bit unusual to have red color hair. And he says, this girl, his mistress, is having wire-like hairs or wire-like hair on her head that suggests black, thick black hair. It's not wavy, it's not smooth, it's like wires. So he is very frankly telling the actual features of the girl. He talks about 1, 2, 3, 4 features here in 4 lines. Feature number 1 is the sun is not sharp like the sun. Then the lips. Coral is better than her lips in the case of color. And in the case of color, once again, the breasts are brownish gray color with regard to this particular girl. It's not white as snow. Also, he finally takes the fourth feature. Usually, that is the hair. And usually, when we describe girls, the poets, novelists, short story writers, they usually talk about the beauty of the hair. Now we see here very clearly, he says, this girl has thick black hair. Opposite of this may be smooth, wavy, long hair in other girls, or maybe other poets will exaggerate like that. But Shakespeare is not doing this here in the first stanza. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move to the second stanza. Now he's continuing to talk about other beautiful features of his mistress. He takes first line, I have seen roses, damask, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. Now, damask, red and white roses are a variety of roses that grow in Lancashire, in UK. He says he has seen such roses of different colors, red and white. He says, but no such roses I see, or see I in her cheeks. Average poets would usually compare rose petals against his girlfriends or his beloveds or mistresses' cheeks. And this suggests the smooth color, soft cheeks, all that is compared. But he says, I don't see such roses on her cheeks. Third line, and in some perfumes is there more delight than the breath that from my mistress reeks. Second comparison he's taking in this stanza is her breath smell. And other poets certainly would say the breath smell of my girlfriend, my beloved, my mistress is more delight than the perfumes. But he says opposite and says, and in some perfumes is there more delight. Delightful perfume, good smelling perfumes are there than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. He is now in the second stanza taking two other features of his beloved. One is the cheeks, second one is the breath smell. Cheeks, according to him, are not like roses or rose petal. Also, he says, perfumes are better than her breath smell. Maybe he's getting bad smell when the girl is smelling out or girl is breathing out. You don't get a good smell, maybe a bad smell. But he tells that as it is, and we'll go to the third stanza. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music has far more pleasing sound. Now you see, he's taking another comparison. Comparison to her speech, her sound, and says, music has far more pleasing sound than her speech, than her voice. Average poet would say, my mistress' sound is better than the music. We have heard in our local languages, for example, Sinhala, they talk about the sound of girls or a girl, lover, a woman is very pleasing. For example, let me tell tell a line in a song in Sinhala. Kinkini parandara naadatage galaya jale. Koga galaya jale. Maybe you have heard these lines in Sinhala songs. So, but here he says very frankly, I love to hear her speak. Yet will I know that music has far more pleasing sound. He has understood that she doesn't have a pleasing sound. Maybe a bit unpleasant sound she produces when she speaks. And he is, as the lover, has accepted it. I love to hear her speak, but I I know that she doesn't have a better sound than music. It's average sound. Look at the next one, next line, third line. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. Another comparison. Action. Usual poets admire the walk of the girl or the lady. And some people see that the girls are walking like goddess, which means without touching the ground, they walk lightly on the ground. That's how the goddess walk. And maybe you have, once again, let me use a singular term. Mihikata nalavala. The way they go on the ground is so soft, nice. Even the earth is enjoying the way, the rhythm, the pattern of the girl's walk. He says, he promises, I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, she's walking like a human being, treads on the ground. Goddess don't go like that. They don't tread on the ground. But this girl walks like an average human being, treads on the ground. And we'll go to the last two lines, the couplet. And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare. But finally, he confirms with all these average things. And yet, by heaven, he promises. You use the term by heaven to promise. I think my love is rare. My love cannot be compared to anyone else in the world. It's very rare love. And any she believed with false compare. I can't compare this love to anyone in the world. And it's very rare love. It's true love. He argues by telling the truth. That is why I named this discussion Shakespeare the realist. Let me go back to the beginning of the poem and then read the poem once for you to understand. Try and understand with meaning so that you can enjoy the poetry. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips' reds. Snow be white, why then her breasts are done. If hairs be wires, black fires grow on her head. I've seen roses damask red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music has far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love was rare. And any she believed with false compare. I hope you too understand that Shakespeare is a realist when he speaks about his beloved, his mistress. Of course, this is my own analysis, my own interpretation. Maybe you can have a different interpretation. You are welcome. Literature is keeping room for you to have your own arguments, your own assumptions, your own analysis, also your own interpretation. having keeping the room for you to do any such kind of interpretation. I just contributed by giving you my own interpretation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We'll meet once again later on with another poem.